What about that? Is that any better? There we go. So whatever happened for those of you who are watching. Journey went. Because the audio was acting up, so I didn't even pay attention. So. All right, good. All right, so in that period of time while I was trying to get things squared away here, Troy has already won game one with his Bant aggro deck. Alright everybody, so welcome back to another Friday Night Magic tournament from Lost Legion Games and Comics in South Charleston, West Virginia. My name, as always, is Zachary Evans. I'm joined by no one this week, as everyone is either playing in the tournament or not at the shop. I apologize that we missed game one there, as we were experiencing a fair amount of technical difficulties with our audio, and by the time I sorted it out, the Bant aggro deck of Troy King had already taken the first game. So while these guys are sideboard and heading into game two, let's talk a little bit of business here. Only 22 players this week. We've had a relatively low turnout for the last month or so, but that's to be expected. Given the fact that the weather has turned, it's almost the 4th of July, and people are finding other things to do with their Friday nights in the summer. 22 players means a 4-round Swiss tournament with a cut to top 8. We'll bring you every round of coverage as long as the players play it out. Let's talk a little bit about our round 1 feature match. On the left, the aforementioned Troy King, who is playing a Bant aggro deck. It's basically a Bant Hexproof deck, but not exactly this typical Bant list. He's played it on camera before. He plays the Geist of St. Traft, and he plays Fencing Ace, and he plays pump effects, but he also runs Simic Charm and Azorius Charm and a variety of little tricks and stuff. So it's basically a tempo-based aggro deck as opposed to the all-in Bant Hexproof strategy that we've seen tear up the Star City Games Invitational Series. His opponent is Nick Reid, also playing a Bant deck, but a much different build. He's playing a mid-range deck that centers around Progenitor Mimic, the new card from the latest Return to Ravnica block set. And it's basically just all value creatures. Restoration Angels, Thragtusks, and the like, and then with the high end of the Progenitor Mimic, which, if left unmolested, will generate a ton of value out of his deck. So thanks again, everybody, for watching us live. I do apologize, like I said, for only having myself here. It is just going to be me talking to myself in a broom closet for a while, but I'm sure we'll be joined by someone else as they become available and their rounds finish up outside. I want to take this opportunity, like we do every week, to thank the fine folks here at Lost Legion Games and Comics for letting us hijack their FNM every week and broadcast it to you across the world on the internet. Obviously, if you're watching live now, you know where the website is, twitch.tv/ZachSellsMagic, but if you're watching on YouTube after the fact, try to check us out live some week. If you can't make your FNM, come watch ours. These guys shuffling up here. I turned my attention to the chat to see what's going on. Someone asking about where you get the sleeves that Troy has. Troy has the Black Lotus sleeves. I do not know where you get those from. I also apologize, as you can see, the camera's bouncing a little bit. I tried to warn these guys that it was doing that and to be a little bit easy on the table, but I don't know if they're heeding my warning. I don't know exactly why some weeks it does that and some weeks it doesn't, but I think it may be under the culprit, and I will try to sort that out here. If not today, next week. So we're back into game two with Troy King up 1 game. Nick leads off with an Arbor Elf. He's going to go ahead and swing in, absent a 3-drop, to take advantage of the accelerated mana. Nick going to go ahead and resolve Farseek. And Troy is going to run out the turn 3 Geist of St. Traft. And Nick is going to end of turn flash in a Restoration Angel. So we see the Progenitor Mimic in Nick's hand. He's going to go ahead and shock himself with a Simple Garden to be able to play that. No, he's going to load up with an Armada Wurm, so the Progenitor Mimic from next turn is going to be even more advantageous. And Troy quickly facing down a somewhat overwhelming board state. So Troy in a little bit of a situation here. Most of the cards in his deck are tempo plays designed to force through some early damage, but it's going to be tough to force that damage through facing down both halves of an Armada Wurm as well as a Restoration Angel. And then next turn, Nick can untap, land his Progenitor Mimic, which will no doubt come in as a copy of the Armada Wurm. And then the value continues from there. So Troy's going to need 4 mana this turn, it seems, as he shocks himself with the Breeding Pool. Let's see what play he lines up here. It looks like a Spectral Flight is going to go on top of his Geist of St. Traft, making it a 4/4 flyer. Possibly a Rancor coming in too, and that is what it is. So that's an 8-power flyer with Trample, and it does trigger the 4/4 Angel when it attacks. So Nick really not really in a spot here where he can favorably block. He's probably going to save his Restoration Angel so he can mimic it, then blink the Armada Wurm every turn. So Nick just takes the 10 damage, dropping down to 8, but like I said, untapping with a veritable army of his own, and with Progenitor Mimic able to blink that Armada Wurm. So he should pile in here for, looks like 13. And then Progenitor Mimic on the Angel, blinking the Armada Wurm. Oh no, he's just going to use it to vindicate the Geist of St. Traft, which seems like a perfectly fine play as well. Likely better than my line of play, as it does eliminate the threat entirely. And Troy's going to go ahead and pack him up. Hello? Oh, hey, no, the door was locked for some reason. It was I was like... It was intended to be locked, it just ended up being locked. As I'm now joined by Yin Sang. Not playing again this weekend.
For the second week in a row.
Just got tired of losing?
Got tired of winning.
Burn.
I just got tired of playing the same stuff.
I can't fault you. Well, we've overcome some technical difficulties to get to the point now where I think we are broadcasting. And have sound that does not sound like a dubstep album that has been dropped in a blender. I believe that was an issue earlier. So thank you guys, the 61 dedicated fans who have stayed with us during that period of time. Also, what's interesting is the time it took me to go live and then fix the audio problem. It's about, like, I don't know, 2-3 minutes. And in that time, Troy King already won the first game.
With Bant aggro.
Bant aggro.
Auras, basically.
It's like, yes, it's basically. The only reason I haven't, like, wholesale put that on there is because he has some card choices that are not in the common, like, stock build of Bant Hexproof, but it's for all intents and purposes, it is the Bant Hexproof deck. He won a quick first one, and then Nick basically won off the back of Progenitor Mimic with not necessarily as intended, but as a clone effect to take out the Geist, which Troy's draw was very much all in on the Geist as his as his win condition. So we go to a decider, and barely 10 minutes are gone in the entire...
That's what happens when you play against Bant Hexproof.
Yeah, it is the worst deck. It is the worst deck to play against. It is the worst deck in some instances to commentate. I intentionally do not pick Bant Aggro if I can avoid it, because it's not interactive at all. It's basically the most goldfish game that you could have in the current standard environment, since there is a lack of true combo, I would think, at this point.
Right.
Slayer 56429 in the chat saying that we deserve more views. I could not agree more with you, Slayer, so thank you for the vote of confidence.
The views probably went down since I started co-commentating.
We've gained one viewer.
Oh, sweet.
Actually, all joking aside, it is infinitely, as someone who consumes a lot of Magic content, the quality of the broadcast is always infinitely better when there's a co-commentator, regardless of who that is, because it's simply more entertaining to listen to two people have a discussion than it is to listen to one person kind of passively talk about exactly what's happening, interact with a chat that most people can't see, because a lot of these people watch on YouTube after the fact, and then there's just periods of silence.
You end up cutting out like half the stuff.
It's a tricky wicket, because I try not to do a ton of editing because it takes a lot of time and I get tired of doing it. And also because we don't have an actual digital, these are webcams. These are not actual, digital camcorders. So my editing limitations are higher than some other broadcasts. I do try to take out the middle if it's like excessive, but
makes sense.
And I try to start the video as soon as the game starts. But I kind of recognize that for the YouTube viewers, it's not going to be a pristine. We're never going to have like a pristine like highlight video. So it just kind of is what it is. Like if you want to watch it, you watch it. If it's not your cup of tea, at some point it's not worth the extra time for me to do that. So I do as much as I can. Question in the chat is Bant Aggro, Bant Hexproof. It's close enough. It's different. I'll put Bant Hexproof just to make everyone happy.
I mean, some of it's not really hexproof if he's running like Smiters and stuff.
I think he is, but I think the Hexproof deck runs Smiters too.
Yeah, I mean, hexproof is not like entirely hexproof anyways. It's really just probably.
I actually have talked about this on the stream before. I hate that they run Loxodon Smiter in those decks, but you kind of have to as a, I don't know. Like the best card against the Hexproof deck is Liliana, and the best card against Liliana is Loxodon Smiter, so it's kind of a give and take, I figure. But it should be taken into account that I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, Smiters are always good against Liliana, or anything else that makes you discard.
I know his creature base includes Geist and Fencing Ace, so there is more of a hexproof. But like I said, he plays Simic Charm.
Okay.
This is very much his deck.
Yeah.
It's not a. I don't know if he's.
I think he's played it every week that he's been here.
He's played it
for a little while.
Yeah, last week I think he was on something else, but he's back to this. This was his stock deck for a long time. As we pile into game 3 here, and we see a tapped Hallowed Fountain met by a turn 1 Avacyn's Pilgrim. And there is the aforementioned Fencing Ace, which has a double strike and can get out of hand with a variety of pump effects. And there we see another Farseek, so Nick's going to untap, and if he plays a land, have access to 6 mana.
Fortunately, Fencing Ace does not have hexproof.
It does not. But fortunately for Troy, Nick's deck is not necessarily the worst of matchups in terms of what targeted removal he could be up against.
True.
The question here is, does Troy have anything that he can pile on that Fencing Ace to make it anywhere close to being a lucrative attacker? It's unconditional. It's unconditional double strike, right?
Yeah.
So he's attacking for 6 here, right?
Yeah, it has to get through, pretty much.
Well, I can't imagine Nick would ever, at this stage of the game, throw his mana dorks under the bus.
I would probably block it if there was stuff other than things that give it trample or flying.
Oh, just if you just want to trade out.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
not even trade out. It's just
Well, I guess you can't
show
trade out the
blocking
one.
if it was like 2 ethereal armors or something.
And that is is that Lavinia? So that's going to
Yeah.
detain. I wonder if it's a sideboard card.
Probably.
So it's going to detain all this creatures of power 3 or less? Is that how it works? Power
I'm
4
not
or
really
less.
sure.
To the MTG bots.
It's because no one plays that card ever. This is the first time I've seen it
I have
played.
seen it in the sideboard of some other decks. Creatures of 4 or less your opponent controls
4 or less.
are detained. So you do get to untap, but you do not get to attack or use its activated abilities, correct?
Yep.
So that's an interesting sideboard card, as I think literally everything in Troy's deck is for casting cost or less. So it's always drawing live.
Yeah.
And remember, Nick's deck is playing Restoration Angels and Progenitor Mimic, so you can you can establish a lock where you mimic a Restoration Angel with Lavinia on board,
Hey y'all, what's going on?
What's up, bro?
in which case your opponent can never attack again. Because you
Right.
just blink, you just make a new angel every turn, blink Lavinia, and activate its enter the board ability.
That sounds like something that was around when
Sounds like
Venser's
Venser's Stonehorn.
It does. It is a poor man's Venser's Stonehorn. Because the reason that the Stonehorn was better is because you can play multiple Stonehorns from your hand and not kill them.
True.
Of course, with the new rules change coming up, that won't be nearly as bad.
When does that take effect? When M14 comes out?
It's in the middle of July sometime. I don't know the actual date. I don't know if it's... yeah, I think it does come out with M14. In fact, I believe it is referred to as the M14 rules change, so...
Alright then.
So Nick adds another Avacyn's Pilgrim to his board, but doesn't come up with anything else, so he's still behind here to the Rancored, as we're now joined by Aaron Daly.
It's pronounced
Now-
Rancor.
The
now that
Rancor
Aaron's
Nazi.
here.
Rancored,
I think it's completely
Fencing
reasonable to
eighth.
expect people to pronounce things as they are supposed to.
have you ever been in America before?
We also live in West Virginia. No one
Rancor-
pronounces anything correctly.
Rancor is not as bad as Omniscience, though.
That is a
That's
bad
probably the worst one.
So in the meantime, Troy adds not one but 2 Rancors to his
Look at that
fencing
beautiful
ace.
red zone on that, man.
So that's a 5/1 double striking trampling. And as I understand how trample works, if first strike damage kills it, all double strike damage gets through, correct?
Yeah, that's fencing ace, right?
Yes. So he's going to...
What is Lavinia's stats?
4/4.
She's a 4/4, so he's trading his board. He's going to basically save 1 Arbor Elf for everything. Yeah, he's going to take some trample damage. He is going to successfully trade with... He can't kill all of it,
Didn't something should have lived,
He
right?
can't kill all of it.
No,
Yeah, he had 2.
first strike and then normal.
Yes,
Oh.
so 10 power damage. That's how magic works, Yen. Thanks for...
Glad you were here.
Well, what happens, I think, is in a vacuum, if I was just outside playing the game of Magic, I would have gotten that. But I get so paranoid after almost a year of doing this that every time I think I'm missing something.
So you would have taken 4. But
Last week there was a
Yeah,
game.
The life total.
Last week there was a game in which Joseph Deal, who was playing the mono red Blitz deck, he triggered a Legion Loyalist, but let his creatures die because he forgot they had first strike. And I don't know, 6 people mentioned it in the comments of the YouTube video after I posted it, as we see a Silverblade Paladin come down paired with that Strangleroot Geist.
So now we have a Strangleroot with...
And now it is exiled thanks to a Selesnya Charm.
Oh, yeah.
But, so I just get lambasted for that. It did not affect the game at all. Joseph won anyway. But, but one commenter at the end just very succinctly put,
Sorry about this, guys.
just very succinctly put, and mentioning it now benefits whom? And I thought, well, thank you, random internet commenter, for
At
having
least
my
he knew. Did he actually say whom and use it properly?
I don't think he said who or whom. I think I'm paraphrasing one way or the other. But it was something to the effect of, there's really no point to bring this up. To which I would argue most of the comments left on the YouTube videos are not of any value.
Yeah.
How about that new Fiend Hunter? Says
Usman writes cube articles for Star City Games. And earlier he was talking about that it was 115 degrees in Phoenix. I don't...
But it's a dry heat, so... So he's got a Rancor on an unpaired Silverblade Paladin?
Dry heat will still burn you to death if it gets hot enough. Yes, that is a unpaired Silverblade Paladin with a Rancor on it, so it's just a 4/2. You have to be wary here of an Angel, which... Ooh, we have Shenanigans.
Oh no, he's gonna pair it! That's so sexy!
That's really, really good.
Oh my gosh.
Really,
And
really
some
good.
double strike damage to boot.
Yep.
It's so good.
So for those scoring at home,
Advent of the Wurm is very good.
attacking with the Silverblade Paladin, blocking with the Restoration Angel before damage, flash in Advent of the Worm, pair it, it now has first strike, it now kills the...
Whoa, why is everything dead now? Which is
Supreme Verdict.
Oh, okay, I missed it. Sorry about that, guys.
Nick had drawn that a couple turns ago, but
Maybe if
hadn't
you
felt the
weren't
need
thinking
to pull the trigger.
It is a Coke. I was about to correct you and say, it's Dr. Pepper, but at the last minute I went for the Coke.
Mine's a Dr. Pepper.
So, is there like a new Fiend Hunter variant in M14?
I'm not sure what he's talking about. If he could elaborate a little bit in the chat, mentioning a new Fiend Hunter.
Because I loves me some Fiend Hunter.
I guess
Smiter on the board.
it sounds like from the chat that there is a new version of Fiend Hunter that is not exactly a reprint. Meanwhile, Nick is almost dead. He is down to 2 off of this...
This is that same deck he played where I did that Fate's Reward, I think. No, with the Progenitor maybe. Never mind.
No.
He had something with Master Biomancer.
That was a deck he borrowed from Jordan. Yeah. So there's a Geist of St. Traft. So 2 of Nick's Supreme Verdicts are already burned through. Let's see if he can come up with... There's a Detention Sphere, which is no good, and the other card I cannot see what he's filtering through.
So all they did...
If he was at 3 life, he could flash in Detention Sphere mid-combat with Alchemist Refuge and take out the Angel and survive. But
no, he could. He didn't have a block.
If he was at 3.
if he was at 3.
If he was at 3.
I hear Troy now ambiently out in the bullpen talking about he's now afraid that Nick is going to Alchemist Refuge Supreme Verdict. Which I don't know what the other card in Nick's hand is, but I doubt, just based on body language, that it is a Supreme Verdict, or he would be a much happier young man.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it sounds like yes.
He's ready to do something.
He can flash in Detention Sphere to take out the Rancors.
But he still takes 2.
I think this is just for show.
Okay.
Oh, and a Cavern of Souls on an Angel token, and that's not going to be good enough. So, Troy King in his Bant Hexproof equivalent deck, might as well say it's basically Bant Hexproof, I guess,
So,
for all intents and purposes. Moves on. He's moves on to round 2. Guess what? Everyone moves on to round 2. But he doesn't.
Sorry.
To the winner's bracket of round 2, basically.
The chat says this thing is called Banisher Priest, and the only difference is that it's a 2/2 and not a 1/3. Is that all I'm seeing, right?
Well, someone's saying that's a considerably worse Fiend Hunter, so I don't...
Well, okay, target creature an opponent controls, that's key. You could probably do some shenanigans with Fiend Hunter by exiling
The
your
thing
own
about
things.
Fiend Hunter that was good is that you never really wanted to win the game with your Fiend Hunter, you just wanted to stall them, so it was much better at blocking. I don't think a 2/2 is the kind of card you're really excited about having in your deck to block, but it is a more aggressive creature. So it's just a different build. Let me step outside and see if I can slot over another match.
Someone's really happy that Nick lost. Demonic Aura 15? You're a jerk.
Why? People hating for no reason.
The internet is full of hatred, I've figured out.
It is.
So, I only heard about it, but the most toxic thing on the internet is the IMDb message boards. I don't know if you've
Message boards?
Oh my god, they're awful. They're the worst. So, especially if there's a movie that's like really got a lot of buzz, or if it's like a sci-fi movie that all the nerds are geeking out over.
Yeah.
Like if you were to go to IMDb and go to the Man of Steel forums, it's the worst, most toxic environment on the internet.
Well, people are probably just like...
I know a lot of people are
bitching
not
about it.
excited about that Man of Steel. What's the card called?
But
Vanishing
Banisher Priest.
Spanish something priest.
Banisher Priest. I thought it said Banalish Priest for a second.
Benelish priest.
Fiend Slayer Paladin? That sounds fun. I want to know what that is too.
Whoops.
I mean, I didn't see it on MTG Salvation, like the spoiler list, but I guess it is here.
So there is no, apparently from a YouTube video,
like that.
Look at that, what awful flavor text.
Oh, here we go.
Oathbreaker, I cast you out! So lame. Oh, and that, the art they spoiled of what looks like Isaac from Dead Space is apparently Fiend something Paladin. Fiend Slayer Paladin.
Let's give the fine folks at home a whoa. There we go. So this one is the one that Usman was talking about, which is Banisher Priest, which is a
reminder text. Just in case you didn't know.
It's a
that creature returns under its owner's control.
This is M14.
I know it's
it is
a core set,
but
man.
It's a core set uncommon. So it's basically equivalent. But Fiend Hunter, you could exile your own creature, so it's not strictly the same card, but it does have a different power and toughness.
I kind of like that Fiend Slayer Paladin a lot. I'm a sucker for White Knights, though.
So it's another creature we're
powerful.
talking about here, Fiend Slayer Paladin. First strike, lifelink, and Fiend Slayer Paladin can't be the target of black or red spells your opponents control. Good grief. It's pretty good. It's pretty hateful. I hate protection.
And it looks like a medieval Dead Space guy.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good art. This helmet thing kind of looks like the generic Planeswalker from Duels of the Planeswalkers. Are you familiar with that?
I am familiar with it, but not the... I am familiar with the concept of Duels of the Planeswalkers, but
You're aware that it's a thing.
Yes.
I have heard of this thing once. And then the final card from this spoiler is
That looks
Zathrid Necromancer, which is a 3-cost 2/2. Whenever Zathrid Necromancer or another human creature you control dies, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield tapped.
Look at that art.
The art is really cool. Here's what I think about this card. This is one of those cards that seems really neat.
I think we're moving over here for game.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
unfortunately there are no such things as human zombies.
Which is weird.
Because then...
But
no
when
one
there's
makes
like a
this-
zombie goblin, it's like specific.
Yeah. But if there were human zombies, then this card might actually be playable.
I think human zombies would kind of like bork current standard. Champion of the Parish would just get so big with zombies. It'd be weird.
Ask JV what he's playing. Could you?
If he playing his...
Oh, he's
I think it's black-red...
Aristocrats, I thought.
It might be aristocrats, it might just be like black-red vampires. He's been doing that for a couple weeks, but I don't really know.
He's playing vampires.
Vampires?
Vampires?
Yeah, it's different. It's like actual vampires.
The last time he played, he went undefeated and drew into the top 8.
Yeah.
We had like Shawmkirk Nobles and Tide Drinkers.
I think he went basically undefeated every time until he played me, just because I have like Olivia's.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's very
like,
good against the...
yeah, it's very good against a deck that pretty much just has vampires.
What does your shirt say? Star Trek. Did you call us nerds earlier? And then you're like,
Are you really not paying attention though?
It's in the Star Wars, Star
Yes.
Trek. Yeah, I mean...
Yes.
Clearly I knew that.
You were the first one to comment on it. And I have been...
It's not worth commenting
I've
on.
been cajoling
It wasn't,
nerds.
it's not worth commenting on. It's been deemed uncomment-worthy by...
Why don't you F off? I was totally about to just unleash the whole F word, but I was like, it's family internet show.
Well, I appreciate that you didn't. I also appreciate that these fine folks have moved over and are now contesting their third and deciding game under our feature match camera. On the left, we've got Garruk Relentless himself, stream regular Garrett Meadows, who's playing junk Planeswalkers. Here's what you need to know about Garrett's deck every week when he walks into FNM. It's going to be black, white, and green, probably. There's like a 95% chance of that. It's just a matter of exactly what he's doing after that. Is it tokens? Is it Planeswalkers? Is it Reanimator? His opponent is J.B. Roberts, our faithful manager here at Lost Legion Games and Comics. And he is playing a homebrew, I believe, black and red vampire deck.
Definitely at least black and red. I think it also
There's some
had-
white in there.
Yeah, he's definitely played Blood Baron against me.
He's got some Tide Drinkers in there too.
Yeah, Tide Drinkers and Blood
Yeah,
Baron.
he was playing Blood, and like I said, he doesn't play in the tournament every week, but he does play occasionally to make it even. And as we see a turn 2 Farseek from Garrett, I'm sure he's thrilled. That's his favorite play in Magic, is the turn 2
Yeah.
Farseek.
But
But
probably wins this one. It has like a 70%
I would
chance of
love to
it
see
now.
the numbers. It's at least 60%. But the last time JB played this deck, he did go undefeated in a 5-round Swiss, and then lost, I think, in the quarterfinals or semifinals of the top 8. And it's cards you don't see, but they're all, the synergy is there.
Yeah.
It
It's
tops
a good card.
it tops out. It has does he play the captain, the Strong Kirk captain?
I think it is.
And then
It is last time.
And then also has a high end of Vampire Nocturnus, which is still a very good Magic card. And then Vizcapa Blood Baron, which is, as we see, starting to show up in main decks of junk lists and whatnot. I mean, that card's very strong.
Surprised.
It doesn't die to anything. It dies to Mizian Mortars, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's the best uncommon ever printed. Well, no, that's not true, but one of the best limited cards ever printed. Vampire Nighthawk, which is going to meet an end thanks to turn 4 Vraska.
Why do you keep playing with that? I think you have a problem.
Well, for those of you who can't see, I'm just going to go ahead and say that we're talking about Yin's classic pouring stuffed animal kind of thing, and not anything untoward.
Sorry for not being more explicit there.
Well, it did, out of context, it did sound very awkward. Meanwhile, JB does find Olivia,
Which
can take over this game if he gets untapped with it. Also being able to take over the game is Obsidat.
Well, I think JB still has a very big advantage. Vraska went down 3 and is up 1, so it's at 3.
Yeah, and we're facing an Obsidat here, so we can.
Does he have 2 red? No, he doesn't.
No.
So he cannot kill both spirits and then kill Vraska.
Unless he draws a red source this turn. Oh, don't play that tap, JB.
Oh my god.
Well, he might have another play.
He might, but still. I really hope he has something really good, and then not just a Lily.
Nocturnus?
Yeah.
With a land on top? How does Nocturnus read?
If it's a black card, I think,
They
all
get-
vampires get +2, +1.
+2/+1 in flying. But that was not the best play ever.
Hey, it's kind of narrow here. I mean, but he does give Garrett the option of cashing in his Vraska for one of those 2 cards, which is not necessarily all that advantageous. But I think I wouldn't have given Garrett the opportunity there. I would have killed Vraska and I would have pumped my Liliana to a 5/5 and cleared the tokens out.
Well, he doesn't really gain anything from having the Nocturnus out. I mean, theoretically, maybe he would have had a blocker for Obsidat, but...
Yeah, I agree. I would have chosen a different line, but just trying to think of it from his perspective.
Right.
I also would have played it pre-combat.
Yeah, if he was going to do
Nothing would have changed because of the chump
but
block. And then Garrett's going to flash back the back half of his Lingering Souls.
And he does sack the Vraska to kill the Oblivion, which is the right play by Garrett.
Yep. Oh, someone in the chat, the Moto Shuffler is his name, making a very good point about the hyperbolic statement I made and immediately regretted.
You know, I was going to say that too about Lingering Souls, but the stuff started happening in the game, and...
Yeah, Lingering Souls, as he points out, was so good and limited that it was banned in block. Which is true. Also very strong. So there is the Stromkirk Captain.
What's on the top of his library? A black card?
It's a Sorin.
So it is a partially black.
But here's the problem. Does the Vampire Nocturnus fly?
He does with the
They all
they all fly.
Other vampires get flying, so
So
he
he's-
himself does not
Vampire
fly.
Nocturnus and other vampires.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they
Andy
all-
has first strike now.
Yeah, because I didn't. If they didn't fly, then JB was just dead on board because of the 3 Lingering Souls tokens, plus the Obsidat coming back into play.
So then all of his vampires get Unholy Strength, and they each get a +1/+1 off the captain and first strike.
Yeah. So they're getting. Yes. Yeah. The Nocturnus is getting. Yeah. I don't want to do the math.
So
They're
the right
all
play
pumped
for Garrett is to do nothing. So his Obsidat can...
Yes, the right. Unless there's a card in his hand that is relevant.
Right.
And as the board sits, he just phases out Obsidat and passes back and hopes that he wins in 2 turns.
Oh!
I guess he might have a Resto Angel for the Obsidat.
Or he could have another Obsidat as well.
Right. Either way,
This can't be just... What? Okay. Maybe he has another Obsidat in his hand.
why did all the souls die?
One of the souls comes back earlier. And there you go. There's the game with the other. Another Obsidat, draining the final 2 points of life.
The final 1 point of life.
Like I said, I think that the game could have gone remarkably different if JB plays the Blood Crypt untapped and then starts shooting Lingering Souls tokens.
Those 2 tokens and kills Casca.
Yeah.
Obsidat would have still probably done a ton of work.
But you could have raced at that point too, you know.
Well, the second half of Lingering Souls. He would just kill it and then attack. Yeah. JB probably could have won that.
That's why Magic's a fun game. There's a lot of different routes.
Okay.
Routes.
I didn't know what you were going for. I thought you were going to say rights.
We've got 10 minutes left in the round here.
What is that pack?
I'm going to show it to you after I take...
is that a Duels of the Planeswalker?
It is a Duels of the Planeswalker pack. These guys here in the broom closet are commenting on the pack of Magic cards.
Oh, you got the good version.
I got the good version, which gets the good promo. Let's go ahead and we are going to switch back to the studio camera because we are waiting for next round. There's 10 minutes left to go. I'm not going to be able to find another match, but hopefully we'll be done relatively shortly. I'm trying to get my... You're playing in the tournament, right, Aaron?
Yeah, I just lost really badly
nice.
on my first round. So.
If you're going to be bad, at least be good at being bad. So this is the card we're talking about. I apologize for the poor lighting, but that is the Duels of the Planeswalker Steam and Android promo.
In all of its dark glory.
Scavenging Ooze. Well, this light is out.
We are in a broom closet.
That is the reprint of Scavenging Ooze, the card that was formerly only available as part of one of the Commander Precon decks, and it's played as a multiple in some legacy lists, which of course made it a $40 Magic card. They announced last week or maybe 6 weeks ago that they were going to reprint that as a part of Magic 2014.
Oh, you got a Giant Growth? Man, that's so money.
To get a Giant Growth in that promo pack, if you want to get your own promo, make sure you...
and Giant Growth.
You're drawing live for a Giant Growth. It could be anything.
I don't want to get anybody's hopes down that they can get a Giant Growth. It's just sought after.
Just buy Duels of the Planeswalker on Steam or on your Android tablet. There's information about it on our Facebook page, facebook.com/ZachSellsMagic. There's 3 promos. One is some kind of giant. One is a sliver.
Oh, it makes me... I have a 360 and I don't
one is a giant, one is a sliver, and one is a previously $40 legacy staple.
Which is now still like 10 to 15.
It's very interesting to talk about Scavenging Ooze because not only is it very relevant to the financial world in that it's a clearly very good card. It's super strong. And it's being reprinted. Not only does that help the value of that card, make it more available, but now it makes it modern legal. That's showing up in 14. Modern legal and standard legal, and I'll tell you right now, that's the kind of card that can really dominate a standard or modern environment. We've already seen there are a ton of decks in modern that are graveyard based. The Storm deck is graveyard based. There's a variety of Gravecrawler-ish decks that are graveyard based. Living End is entirely graveyard based. So that's the kind of card that you can make along with the Deathrite Shaman. It's the kind of card that you can main deck.
Well,
and not feel like you're losing any value.
Here he is, sir.
Thanks.
So modern junk basically gains Scavenging Ooze.
So we're not just entertaining ourselves.
Oh, I'm all the way in the bottom. It's off. 211 aggro.
All right, man.
Good luck, man.
So we're going to switch back over, see if we can find another feature match here. All right, bud.